Can I just say something? I've never really spoke publicly about Micheal. We should all just kind of like chill because it's, you know, he may know something none of us really know. And just like, well, let's wait and see. Let's wait it out. You know, let's just wait it out. You never know, right? You just never know. Ultimately, we all got to come back home. So let's just make a home for everybody.
Michael Jackson and Prince. These two weren't only just pop stars, they were the ultimate icons of the 80s. Michael had everyone moonwalking with Thriller, which became the best-selling album ever, while Prince rocked the world with Purple Rain, dominating not just the music charts but even the box office. During the 1980s, both Michael and Prince were making huge waves, especially for black artists. They smashed through barriers and took over the pop charts, which were mainly enjoyed by white audiences at the time. These guys reinvented pop music, and between them, produced a total of 30 top 10 hits in the 80s alone, with 13 of those songs hitting #1. Michael didn't just break records, he changed the game, with his music videos pushing the boundaries of what's possible. On the other hand, Prince became the first artist since the Beatles to have his first #1 album, single, and movie all at the same time. They were not just commercial successes, they were two of the biggest GOATs who changed the face of music forever. But all that success came with some serious rivalry. These two were always watching each other, trying to outdo one another.
And now, I mean, this last couple years, I don't know if it's the marriage, because they say, you know, when you get married to a woman, calm down.
Okay, girl.
So I don't know if it's being married or where you're at, maybe because being free too, where you got your own labels, you're running everything, you're in control of your life, you're just happy.
Well, really, I don't talk because my voice is
What started as a little competition quickly turned into a full-blown feud. They were constantly trying to one-up each other, whether on stage, in the studio, or on the charts. So, why did these two legends end up hating each other? And what even sparked this feud in the first place? Here's everything you need to know.
Beatles had the Rolling Stones. Elvis had Jerry Lee Lewis. Early on in your career, who was the guy that you looked at and said, "Oh, I gotta get back in the studio"? Did you hear so-and-so? Yeah. Let's get in the studio right now. Who did that for you? Everybody's got somebody.
Yeah, contrary to what a lot of people might believe, it was never somebody who was my contemporary.
There was never like any rivalry between you and Mr. Jackson?
Alright, so let's start from where all this beef emerged between the two. You see, after Michael's insane success with Thriller, he didn't see Prince as an equal. Michael was the king of pop, and he wasn't about to share his throne. He was the world's greatest entertainer, while Prince was seen as a musical genius. Both were black artists who totally transformed pop music, so people naturally compared them. But Michael, nope, he wasn't having any of that. He straight up said, "I don't like being compared to Prince at all." He felt like he had proven himself since he was a kid and saw Prince as trying to challenge him. Michael even said, "He feels like he's my opponent. I hope he changes because, boy, he's gonna get hurt." This wasn't just a friendly competition anymore. It was getting personal. I mean, one time Michael even called him a meanie.
I brought Mike to go see me rock with Prince in Vegas. He's like, "I heard you guys have a show tonight." I'm like, "Yeah, we got a show going on 10. "Oh, rats, you know, I'm gonna be sick. I gotta put the kids to sleep."
Oh, rats.
I'm like...
He said, "Oh, rats."
I swear to you. I'm like, "I'll be rocking with Prince like around 12:30. "Oh, I can't go to that." I'm like, "Why?" "Prince is a meanie."
A meanie.
Both Michael and Prince were super competitive. They weren't just happy with being successful, they wanted to be the best, and they wanted everyone to know it. At first, their beef was at a distance. They weren't really taking jabs at each other publicly, but everyone knew there was tension.
Yeah, they had a little beef with each other. It's so
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they had a little beef with each other because they was kind of like the two top singers, you know what I'm saying? And they was competing with each other, kind of like, you know, the little rap beefs and stuff, but they didn't go below the belt or nothing. But yeah, they wasn't really feeling each other like that.
Michael had the dance moves, the showsmanship, and the charisma. Prince had the musical chops, playing multiple instruments and creating his own unique sound. Things started to heat up when they had to share the spotlight. Both were making headlines, selling out concerts, and topping the charts. Michael didn't want to share his title as the biggest star, and Prince didn't want to be seen as the second best. This competition fueled both of them to push harder, but it also started to create some serious friction. One of the biggest turning points came when Michael invited Prince to be a part of the song Bad. Michael saw it as a great collaboration, but Prince wasn't jacking it. He didn't want to play second fiddle in a Michael Jackson video. Prince reportedly said,
"You gonna sing that to whom? Cause you sure ain't singing it to me. And I sure ain't singing it to you." So, right there we got a problem.
So that collaboration never happened, and it only added fuel to the fire. Their rivalry wasn't just about who could sell the most records or put on a better show. It became about pride and respect. Michael felt like he had earned his place at the top, and Prince felt like he deserved to be there too. They both wanted to be the best and weren't willing to back down. After the tension started brewing, things really kicked off during the infamous James Brown performance. This was the first time Michael Jackson and Prince met, and it was also the start of their bad blood. In 1983, at James Brown's show, both Michael and Prince were in the audience. James Brown, being the legend he is, invited Michael up on stage. MJ joined Mr. Dynamite for an epic duet that had the crowd on their feet. Michael was on fire, and the audience loved it. After his performance, Michael encouraged Brown to get Prince up on stage too. Now, at this time, Prince was making a name for himself with hits like 1999 and Little Red Corvette, but his fame still didn't match up to Michael's. So, Prince saw this as a chance to show off his skills alongside the world's biggest stars, but things didn't go as planned for him. When Prince got on stage, he didn't quite manage to wow the crowd like Michael did. In a move that could have been epic, he tried to swing from a prop lamppost besides the stage. Instead, he ended up falling on the floor. It was a total flop. Michael later said in rediscovered recording, he made a fool of himself. He was a joke. People are running and screaming. I was so embarrassed. It was all on video. To make things worse, Michael reportedly bought the video footage of the incidents to ensure it never got lost in history, making sure everyone would remember the footage of Prince's most embarrassing moment. This moment really set the tone for their rivalry. Prince's attempt to shine next to Michael backfired, and it only fueled the tension between them. Michael came out on top, and Prince was left with a bruised ego.
At the heart of the matter, though, is the music. You know, I am a musician. I don't sample, you know. It's not Memorex. I go on stage and my microphone is on.
What? Speaking of sample.
Now, despite the years of them bickering and epic competition, including a legendary ping pong match, they almost teamed up. Michael wanted Prince to duet with him on Bad, so his producer Quincy Jones set up a secret meeting in the summer of 1986. Prince was interested in the idea of a collaboration, but both these two guys were intense control freaks. Prince didn't like the fact that it was billed as Michael's project, and was worried that Michael would make him look inferior again. Michael sent Prince an early demo of Bad, and Prince re-recorded almost everything and sent it back. Let's just say Michael wasn't thrilled with Prince's changes. Prince also had his thing where he'd call Michael Camille to his face, trying to humiliate him in front of others. Years later, in an interview with comedian Chris Rock, Prince joked about the collaboration, saying that the first line of the song is "Your butt is mine." Now I say, who's gonna sing that to whom? Cause you sure ain't singing that to me, and I sure ain't singing that to you. So right there, we got a problem.
You turning down Bad.
Well, you know, that Wesley Snipes character, that would have been me. All right, now you run that video in your mind.
Clearly, the two had very different ideas about how the song should go, even though the collaboration never happened, and Prince turned down a starring role in the Bad music video, which then went to Wesley Snipes. Prince reportedly told Jackson and his management after the meeting, "It will be a big hit, even if I'm not on it." That's a pretty classy move, considering their rivalry. Their inability to collaborate didn't just stem from their competitive natures, but also from their very different styles and visions of their music. While Michael loved grand cinematic projects, Prince was more of a raw musicality and control over every aspect of his work. This clash of titans ensured that any potential collaborations was doomed from the start.
You know, there again, you know, hopefully the press will get to the point where we'll it'll be a law where you have to tell the truth. It won't be about speculation.
It's no secret that the media loves to put successful artists against each other. Think of the Beatles versus the Rolling Stones. Any hint of dissent from Michael or Prince and the media would jump all over it. Michael even called Prince one of the rudest people he's ever met. He said, "He's been very mean and nasty to my family." Clearly this wasn't just media hype. There was some real tension between them. The media definitely heightened their feud, but both Michael and Prince knew how to use publicity to their advantage. Michael loved creating buzz and leaking stories for publicity stunts. He once told his managers, "I want my whole career to be one of the greatest shows on earth." He was a master at getting attention and knew how to work the media to keep his name in the spotlight. But this wasn't just a media creator rivalry. Both artists genuinely challenged each other and seriously disliked each other. In his 1988 autobiography, Moonwalk, Michael slammed Prince, calling him rude and nasty. This wasn't just friendly competition. There was some real bad blood between them. Their egos played a huge role too. Both Michael and Prince had massive egos and couldn't stand being outdone. Even towards the end of Michael's life, as he prepared for his legacy at London's O2 Arena, he still had Prince on his mind. Michael claimed, "If I'm not going to receive these ideas, God might give them to Prince." This just goes to show how deep their beef actually was. The media definitely fueled the fire, but the real spark came from their intense personalities and need to be the best. When Michael signed a deal with Pepsi, Coca-Cola hit up Prince trying to work with him. He declined the offer despite the money because he didn't want to be compared to Michael at all. Things got heated when Prince dropped his Party Man video. One of the scenes includes a chimpanzee wearing a Batman suit. A lot of people think that this was Prince throwing shots at Michael and his chimpanzee Bubbles. Their competition drove them to create some of the most incredible music and performances, but it also created a lot of tension and drama.
Hypothetically, who would win in a fist fight, you or Michael Jackson? You're both roughly, the same size. You have both have the high-pitched sound. What do your right hooks like?
Oh my goodness. He's a plant, y'all. But I plant him. Keep it light, keep it light.
How about this?
Michael's not a fighter, he's a lover.
Unfortunately, it seemed like their beef lasted right up until Michael's death on June 25th, 2009, the same day as the 25th anniversary of Purple Rain. This eerie coincidence only added to the drama surrounding their beef. After Michael's death, everyone wanted to know what Prince had to say. He didn't make any public statements immediately, but it was clear he was deeply affected. Author David Smiley recalls talking to Prince for hours about his own morality and what the loss of Michael Jackson really meant for him. In a rare interview on French television, Prince simply said, "It's always sad to lose someone you love." By 2014, when asked about Michael, Prince declined to discuss it, saying, "I don't want to talk about it. I'm too close to it." In a surprising tribute, Prince began covering Michael Jackson's "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough" during his tours. Fans were amazed to see Prince honor his rival in such a way. This gesture showed a side of Prince that acknowledged Michael's influence and legacy.
When Michael dies, Prince was in rehearsal for headlining the Montreux Jazz Festival in Switzerland. When news comes that Michael has died, he immediately canceled rehearsal, sent all of his band members home, and locked himself in his bedroom for days and wouldn't come out. When he finally emerges, they do a couple more rehearsals. He calls me to say, what you doing this summer? We talk. He's on headline in Montreux. You want to come? I said, sure. I pack up my bags. I go to Montreux. I go to Switzerland with Prince. He kills the show in Montreux, and about 1:30 in the morning, we stopped by a little after party. We stayed there for about a half hour or so. About 2 o'clock in the morning, we're back to his hotel. He's staying in the presidential suite, of course, where else would Prince stay? Presidential suite, top floor of this hotel. It's way that has French doors, I'll never forget it, that open out to the rooftop of the hotel. We walk out there about 2-something in the morning, and we sat on the rooftop of that hotel looking at the Swiss Alps until the sun came up, and all Prince talked about for hours was Michael Jackson. Wow. And it was so surreal because in this moment where these two guys had been so linked in history, back in the day, either you with Prince or you with Michael. Exactly. But to sit there and just, I didn't say, I don't know if I said 10 words that night, but Prince just had to get it out of his system. And he sat and he talked and he talked. And in that moment, again, it was so surreal to hear him talking for hours about his respect for Michael's genius, for Michael's gift, for Michael's showmanship. And I would never forget, as long as I live, just sitting there to hear him express his appreciation for Michael. And again, I think when you've been linked that way with somebody musically and historically, you start to think about your own mortality. You start to think about the dance that you will have to do eventually with your own mortality.
Similarly to Michael's untimely death, Prince passed away in 2016 during a period of creative resurgence. Both of these legends died while actively contributing to the music world, which only added the sense of loss felt by fans around the world. Even though Michael and Prince had a well-known disdain for each other, they were more alike than they would ever admit. Both were incredibly talented, driven by perfection, and forever changed the landscape of pop music. Their beef pushed them to new heights and gave us some of the most unforgettable moments in music history. Their beef may have lasted until Michael's death, but in the end, there was a mutual respect. Both Michael Jackson and Prince left an indelible mark on the world, and their beef only added to their legendary status. Their beef was intense, sometimes bitter, but it pushed them to create some of the greatest music of all time.
You know, I'm a musician. I live for that. I live for playing and creating songs. I got wrapped up in the ego of the whole thing.